Hi guys, today we're going to review perimeter and area of polygons, and today we're going to talk about squares, rectangles, and parallelograms. So just to review, what are these shapes called? Okay, this is a square. This is a rectangle. And this geometric shape that looks a little bit like a squashed rectangle is called a parallelogram.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to this very special lesson on finding perimeter and area in rectangular figures. So we'll start off by asking the question, what is perimeter? So for rectangles, we can think of perimeter as measuring the length along the entire outside of the figure. And since perimeter is the outside length of the figure, area is going to be all the space covered inside the figure, and we measure area in square units. So on a rectangular football field, we can think of perimeter as how many footsteps it would take you to walk around the entire outside length of the field, while area would be like finding the entire number of square feet that would have to be covered to mow the grass. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a shot at finding the perimeter of a rectangle with a length of 4 centimeters and a height of 3 centimeters. Now I know that the opposite sides in a rectangle are the same length, so I'm going to go ahead and label that. And now I'm totally ready to find the length of the perimeter of this rectangle. Now I can visualize this by imagining taking the two widths, both 3 centimeters long each, as well as the two lengths that are both 4 centimeters each, and adding them all together, 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4, which will give us a perimeter of 14 centimeters, the sum of all of the sides of the rectangle. Now the cool thing is that this works for any rectangle, so we're going to say that perimeter for any rectangular figure is equal to the sum of all of the sides.
Oh yeah!
All that means is you take all the sides and you add them up. But what if I wanted to find the area of this figure? Now the width of this rectangle is 3 centimeters, so let's visualize cutting this into 3 equal parts horizontally, 1 centimeter in width each. Then the length is 4 centimeters long, so we can imagine cutting this vertically into 4 different sections that are also 1 centimeter each, and this creates those square units that we were talking about, and now we can just count them up to find the area. In this case, this rectangle has 12 square centimeter area. Now, did you notice that the length of 4 centimeters and the width of 3 centimeters, when multiplied together, 4 times 3, is equal to 12, which was our area. And this is cool because this rule is going to apply to finding the area of any rectangular figure, and we can say that the area is going to equal the length times the width.
Ooh!
Okay, so now that we know this stuff, let's go ahead and apply it to some real-life situations. So for our first example, we want to know how many feet of fencing would a farmer need if she wanted to enclose a rectangular garden that is 12 feet long and 8 feet wide. Now, fencing only goes around the outside of a garden, so we know that this is a perimeter question. So first, I use the given information and I label my diagram. The length is 12 feet, the width is 8 feet, and because it's a rectangle, the opposite sides are the same, so I label those too. And now I want to find the sum of those sides, so I'm going to add 12 plus 12 plus 8 plus 8. Again, it's the sum of the sides. And now I want to add those 4 numbers up. That'll get me my perimeter, which is 40 feet of fencing that the farmer would need to build a fence around her garden. So for our next scenario, we're going to join a street artist named Craig, who's painting a mural on the side of a building that's 15 feet long and 10 feet wide. And what we want to find is exactly how many square feet he's going to have to paint in order to complete the mural. Now the key info here is that the length is 15 feet and that the width is 10 feet, and that we want to find the number of square feet he's going to need to complete the mural. This should let us know that this is an area question, so we have to use the area formula because we want to find the inside of the rectangle and not the outside. So the length is 15 feet, the width is 10 feet, and again, using the formula, I multiply length times width. 15 times 10 is equal to 150, the number of square feet that Craig will have to paint to complete the mural. Cool.
Okay, so let's review what he spoke about in this video. What is perimeter? The perimeter is the distance all the way around the outside of a two-dimensional shape. So if you think about the example he used in the video with the football stadium, he showed the illustration of footsteps going around the edge of the football field. Perimeter is the boundary of a closed geometric figure. You can think of perimeter as the fence around the yard. And perimeter is measured in standard units such as inches, centimeters, feet, yards, millimeters, etc. So let's find the perimeter of a rectangle. We're given a rectangle where we have the top length of 6 and the bottom length of 6, and we have the right side is 4 centimeters and the left side is 4 centimeters. Okay, there's two different ways you can find the perimeter of a rectangle. So method 1, you're going to add up all the sides. So you would add up 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 6, and you would get a perimeter of 20 centimeters. So let me show you another way to find the perimeter of a rectangle. We know that our length on the top and the bottom are the same measurements. And we know the widths on both sides of our rectangle are also the same measurements. So I can multiply 2 times the length, and I can add that to 2 times the width, and I will get the perimeter of my rectangle. So if I substitute in a length of 6 and a width of 4, I would multiply 2 times 6, and I would add that to the product of 2 times 4. 2 times 6 equals 12, and 2 times 4 equals 8, And when I add 12 plus 8, I get a perimeter of 20 centimeters. So now let's find the perimeter of a parallelogram. So you're given a parallelogram that has 5 and 5 on the top and the bottom, and 3 inches and 3 inches on the left and the right. Okay, so method 1, you're just going to add up all the sides. So I'm going to have you go ahead and pause the video for a moment and see if you can find the correct perimeter of the parallelogram. Okay, when you add up all the sides, you're going to add 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 5, and you should have gotten a perimeter of 16 inches. So method 2, you can use the same formula as we did with the rectangle, and you can multiply 2 times the length and 2 times the width, and you can add those together. So if I multiply 2 times the length of 5 and I add that to 2 times a width of 3, 2 times 5 equals 10 and 2 times 3 equals 6, and the sum of 10 and 6 is 16 inches. Okay, find the perimeter of a square. We are given a square where all sides equal 12 yards. Remember, a square is a type of rectangle where all sides are the exact same length. Okay, method 1, you're going to add up all the sides. So go ahead and pause the video now and find the perimeter of this square. Okay, when we add up 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, you should have gotten a perimeter of 48 yards. Okay, so method 2, You can use the formula that we did with the rectangle and the parallelogram. You can say 2 times length plus 2 times width. Or, since we know that all 4 sides of a square are the same length, we can simply multiply 4 times the side length, and we would use the formula 4s. So when we multiply 4 times 12, we get a perimeter of 48 yards. Okay, so let's talk about area. What is area? Area is the number of square units needed to cover a region or figure. It is measured in square units. Area is the amount of space inside the boundary of a closed geometric figure. So perimeter was the distance around the boundary. Area is the space inside the boundary. And you can think of area as the grass in the yard. So remember in the video, he showed the football field and said you could think of the grass inside the field as a measure of the area. Area is measured in square units or units squared. So you could say inches squared, centimeters squared, feet squared, yards squared. Or if you prefer, it would be fine to say square inches, square centimeters, square feet, square yards, etc. Okay, so let's find the area. How do we solve for area? Well, for a square, a rectangle, and a parallelogram, you're going to multiply the base times the height. We use the formula A equals B times H. So for example, I have a rectangle that has a base of 9 centimeters and a height of 3 centimeters. Now I want you to notice the height forms a right angle with the base. So here's my height and my base, and we have a right angle here. So remember, a right angle is 90 degrees, and we're always looking for the measurement of the side that forms a right angle with our base. Okay, so if I use the formula area equals base times height, I'm going to multiply a base of 9 times a height of 3 to get 27 square centimeters. Now let's look at a parallelogram. I have a base of 8 feet and I have a side measurement of 6 feet. But if I look closely, this side does not form a right angle with my base. So this measurement of 6 feet cannot be my height. My height is 5 feet because this distance right here forms a right angle with the base. So when I plug in my formula, area equals base times height, I multiply a base of 8 times a height of 5, I get an area of 40 square feet for the parallelogram. Okay, so now you're going to try this on your own. Find the area of these figures. So you have a rectangle with a base of 7 and a height of 5. And you're going to use the formula area equals base times height. So go ahead and pause the video and find the area of the rectangle. Okay, you should have multiplied a base of 7 times a height of 5 to get an area of 35 square feet. And don't forget to square the units when you're talking about area. Okay, now you're given a parallelogram that has a base of 9, a side measurement of 8 centimeters, and the height of 7 centimeters. So again, you're going to use the formula area equals base times height. Go ahead and pause the video and find the area of the parallelogram. Okay, you should have substituted 9 for the base and 7 for the height, because remember, this 7 forms a right angle with my base of 9. And when you multiply 9 times 7, you should have gotten an area of 63 square centimeters.
It's the year 2060 and you're colonizing Mars. You're about to buy a plot of land, but you have a dog and you want to make sure he has enough space to run around. You also want to build a fence so he can't escape. So first you want to know how big the backyard is, and then you want to know how far it is around. To figure this out, you have to find
space inside. For a rectangle, its length and width are multiplied. And perimeter, the distance around the shape. Just add the sides together and then you'll be great with the area. That's the space inside. For a rectangle, its length and width are multiplied. And perimeter, the distance around the shape. Just add the sides together and then you'll be great. Yeah, here I am on Mars, trying to find out the size of my backyard. Well, it's a rectangle, right? So what if we cut it into squares of the same size that are 1 unit long by 1 unit wide? These are called square units. Add them all up, surprise! You got 72 square units, or feet, cause that's the unit we're using. But who has time to count squares? Length times width is the quickest way to get there. Yeah, that's how you find the area. A nice little formula that'll take care of you. And I need to hurry cause my dog is starving. Let's find the area so I can feed Marvin. My yard is 9 feet long by 8 feet wide. I get the area when I multiply each side. 9 times 8 is 72. But here's another way for you to think it through. Basically, you take the rows and figure how many square units fit inside of those. Yo, my backyard is wide, 8 feet. So that's 8 rows with 9 square units in each. So multiply the 8 rows by the 9 square units, you get 72. Yup, you knew it. The area, that's the space inside. For a rectangle, its length and width are multiplied. And perimeter, the distance around the shape. Just add the sides together and then you'll be great with the area. That's the space inside. For a rectangle, its length and width are multiplied. And perimeter, the distance around the shape. Just add the sides together and then you'll be great. Now I've got my area for my yard on Mars, and there's plenty of room for Marvin to live large. But now I need a fence, cause I heard the animals on Mars could be intense. So I'll need a perimeter, the distance around my whole yard. How do you get it? You just add up the length of the sides. 9 plus 8 plus 8 plus 9 is a perimeter of 34 feet. And oh yeah, that's regular units and not units squared. So let's take a look from another angle. To get the perimeter of a square or rectangle, you add 2 widths plus 2 lengths. Here's a formula, don't forget to say thanks. 2 times length plus 2 times width to get a square or rectangle's perimeter quick. So let's try it with my Martian backyard. Come on, get ready, y'all. It's not that hard. 2 times the length of 9 is 18. And 2 times the width of 8 is 16. And 16 plus 18 is 34. Now, if I could stop Marvin from making a dirty floor. Come on, Marvin. Seriously.
Okay, so to conclude this lesson, I'm going to tell you a poem that might help you remember the difference between area and perimeter. Perimeter is the fence that goes all around. Area is the grass that's on the playground. To get the perimeter, you add up the sides. To get area, you multiply. To find the area of a square, a rectangle, and a parallelogram, you're going to use the formula area equals base times height.